February 2000. No more Y2K jokes. That went on way too long. Still working at Frame Art Galleries as a picture framer. I believe in 2000 I was still at their Strongsville location. Had not moved to the Westlake location yet. But I was managing the Strongsville store, I believe, at this time. That's about all that was going on. Just living my life and reading some books. And what did I read in February of 2000? Well, I started with Rainbow Six by Tom Clancy. This is a, let's check, John Clark novel. John Clark is an ex-Navy SEAL, and he has been tasked with starting the Rainbow Group, which is an international anti-terrorist organization. Big, thick book. Not a huge Tom Clancy fan. I tried reading some of his other stuff, found it very dry. But I think I went through Rainbow Six pretty quickly, and I believe I enjoyed it. Well, I know I enjoyed it. I don't remember how much, but I thought it was pretty good. Lots of international action, crazy terrorist stuff going on in this disparate group of different anti-terrorist characters. It's an ex-Navy SEAL, SAS, Mossad, I believe. Again, people from all over coming together to save the world. If you like high-octane thrillers, this is pretty good. Next, we have Practical Demon Keeping by Christopher Moore. Now, let's chat. First of all, this is about a 100-year-old ex-seminarian, I believe, named, gotta check, Travis O'Hearn, and his traveling companion, Ketch the Demon. And this is the first of 3 Pine Cove novels from Christopher Moore. It's his debut novel. It's comedy. Would you call it horror when you got a demon? And on this first reading, I did not like it. Not a fan. Didn't do anything for me. But I think I was in the wrong mood because, spoilers, I read it again eventually, and I really enjoyed it. After I had read, something brought me back. It might have been Lamb. Brought me back to Christopher Moore. I gave him a second chance, and I thought Lamb was hilarious. And Catch the Demon, I believe, is in Lamb. But loved that. Started reading some of his other stuff. Really was enjoying it. So I went back and reread Practical Demon Keeping, and I found I enjoyed it the second time. But this time, the first time, nah, wasn't for me. But Practical Demon Keeping, Christopher Moore, I can recommend it if you want some good comedy with demons and crazy characters and stuff. Because eventually I came around. Next, we have City of Darkness Unseen, edited by Aaron Kelly and Stuart Week. However you say this guy's name. I know I pronounce it differently almost every time I say it. But this is a White Wolf World of Darkness anthology series. So previous to this, if you watched previous videos, you know I've been sort of going through the World of Darkness anthologies, each one focusing on a different game. Vampire the Masquerade, Werewolf the Apocalypse, is it Mage the Ascension, Wraith, Changeling, etc. This anthology, I believe all the stories take place in San Francisco, and I believe all of the stories continue, or at least take characters from stories from all of those different anthologies. So you have, instead of the individual anthologies for each game, this brings them all together. Not that they interact within the stories, but it's all the games in one anthology. I did not find a table of contents list, so I can't tell you who any of the authors are, but I'm guessing they're authors from the other anthologies. But, so you've got vampire stories, werewolf, mage, wraith, changeling. Is there another one that I'm forgetting? I don't know. But, anthology, World of Darkness. There you go. Then we have Angel of Death by Jack Higgins. This is a Sean Dillon novel. Sean Dillon, ex-IRA. guy. um, there's like 22 novels with him. But in this one, there is an assassin, a woman on a motorcycle, driving around shooting people. Turns out she's this actress, but she's part of a terrorist group called January 30 because they want to make people think that it has to do with Belfast, a tragedy in Belfast, but they're actually just sort of this uh, anarchistic um, terrorist group, although they kind of want to bring communism to the world because there's an ex-KGB guy that's part of this. So basically, but it's Sean Dillon and Brigadier General Ferguson and that group, the group of good guys trying to take down this terrorist organization. Jack Higgins, fun, fast-paced thrillers. Then we have Conspiracies by F. Paul Wilson, a Repairman Jack novel, the third Repairman Jack novel, chronologically, story-wise. And, of course, if you want to know much, much more about this, you can go to my Secret History of the World series, where I'm going through all of the Secret History of the World F. Paul Wilson books. But basically, Jack is hired to find a missing conspiracy theorist. He ends up going to a conspiracy theory convention. And I really, really like this one because I find conspiracy theories fascinating. So there's, a lot of theories I've heard of before, some new theories, some theories made up just for the book. It does tie in quite a bit to the Secret History of the World. Really, really good one. Definitely in the top half of the Repairman Jack books for me. Conspiracies, F. Paul Wilson. Repairman Jack, good stuff. Let's see, I followed that with Bagumbo Snuff Box by Kurt Vonnegut. And this is basically, it's 23, let me check my numbers, 23 never before collected short stories. So if you're a Kurt Vonnegut fan, you might want to check it out. Just a wide range of short stories. I haven't read Vonnegut in a long time, but there was a time where I found his stuff very entertaining. And I think when you read short stories by an author, they can give you a taste of what their longer work is going to be, their range, all sorts of stuff. So if you've never read Vonnegut, you should probably just read Slaughterhouse-Five. Start with that. But, or Cat's Cradle. But you might want to jump on some short stories just to see if you like his style. The penultimate book. Man, we're flying through these. Penultimate book for February of 2000 was Thunderhead by Douglas Preston and Lincoln Child. Another standalone novel. No Agent Pendergast in this one. Here our main character is Nora Kelly. She's an archaeologist, and one day she receives a letter, a 16-year-old letter, written by her supposedly dead father, that says he's made this amazing discovery in Utah. And so she goes to Utah to do some archaeological stuff and see what her father's talking about. And it's just high adventure. I say again, have I mentioned high adventure this video? Lots of adventure, lost civilizations. I always like that kind of stuff. I forget now. There was an indigenous tribe that this has to do with, I believe, if it's the book I'm thinking of. And now I can't remember who they are. It's a tribe from South America that was never known to have been in North America, or came to North America and just simply disappeared. Now I don't recall. But good, exciting adventure stuff from Douglas Preston and Lincoln Child. And then finally, the last book that I read in February of 2000 is Pay the Devil by Jack Higgins, which I had just read in December of 1999. But this is the point where I was reading I was going between this and um, A Prayer for the Dying, back and forth every other month, I believe. So I think in March. Oh, see, I'm just a liar because I don't see it in March. I was going to say Prayer for the Dying would be in March. But anyway, yeah, I just read this 2 months ago and enjoyed it so much. I decided to read it again. This is about uh, Confederate Colonel Clay Fitzgerald post Civil War. He's got land in Ireland and um, is in the middle of the Fenian Rebellion. And he's a landowner, but he becomes this mythic, um, pulpish kind of hero for the downtrodden, sort of a Zorro figure. I think that's the exact same thing I said last time that I talked about this. But I really, really like this. Excuse me. Really, really like this book. It's going to be coming up again a number of times, but just a great thrilling. It's not a spy thriller like Jack Higgins' usual stuff, but it's a great pulpy, again, Zorro-esque or Robin Hood type of story. Jack Higgins, Pay the Devil, the last book that I read in February of 2000. That is all that I read. I did not think of a question ahead of time, as usual. So we'll go with this, since Jack Higgins is on this list twice. Are you a fan of thrillers, spy thrillers in particular? If so, do you have a favorite book, favorite author? Do you prefer Robert Ludlum, more realistic type of stories versus, say, James Bond, that get a little wilder with gadgets and all that stuff? If you don't like this type of thing, maybe let me know why. What is it about them that did they just not interest you at all? Are there tropes that you just find tired and boring? If you do enjoy them, what is it that you enjoy? And again, what are your favorites? Favorite author, favorite book? I'm a fan if it's well done. I have read Robert Ludlum. I find his writing, at least in the books that I read, I found a little tedious, a little dense, and the plots maybe too complicated. Some of them, I don't know. I didn't get it, which is probably why I haven't read too much from Robert Ludlum. Just way too many twists and turns, or maybe they were it's been so long, it's hard to remember why exactly, but I just feel like, there were characters, there'd be a twist somewhere in the book with characters that I didn't remember from so far back in the book. I don't know. So not a huge Robert Ludlum fan. I do like The Osterman Weekend, though. I've read James Bond. I do need to read more of the James Bond, the Ian Fleming stuff. I don't know if I'll ever get around to reading like the new James Bond stuff by different authors, but I'd love to get a nice old pulpy looking set of the Ian Fleming stuff and reread the ones that I've already read. There are some that I have not read, so read those. And I enjoy those for what they are. But obviously, I think the answer for me is going to be Jack Higgins, my favorite writer of this sort of thing. And he does have a few stories that don't quite fall into this, such as Pay the Devil. But, the Sean Dillon series, like I said, on Amazon, it says there's 22 books in the series, and it's all, government versus terrorists or government versus government. And things with, like, The Eagle Has Landed is absolutely fantastic book. The sequel, The Eagle Has Flown, is good. Not as good, but definitely good. I do like all the Sean Dillon books I've read. Although there was a point where it became actually almost Fast and Furious like, because in one book, I think this was the Sean Dillon books. He has a mission and ends up like killing the bad guy, and then the next book or maybe two books later, it's about the bad guy's family coming after Sean Dillon for revenge. Um, and I had read those long before Fast and Furious, which I've only ever seen one and a half of those movies, but I do know there's a lot of people, a lot of families coming back for revenge. But yeah, Jack Higgins is the guy that I like. I think because his stories are a little, they're fast paced, they're breezy. His writing style does not bog down like Robert Ludlum or John Le Carre, however you say his name. I've read, I think I read Little Drummer Girl. I don't remember if I've read anything else by him. And there's probably plenty of other authors in this field that I haven't read. I feel like John Gardner is somebody. I don't know. But what about you? What do you like or dislike in thrillers and the spy genre? Let me know in the comments below. If you have any comments, questions, corrections, please put those in the comments below. Comments are open for spoilers. Just post a spoiler warning. We try to be polite here on my channel. Please like, share, and subscribe. All the usual YouTube stuff. If you'd care to follow me on other social media. For the time being, I am still on Twitter at Ronan5757. On Instagram, where I post pictures of books, comic books, board games, and fuzzy animals, I'm Eric Smith 5757. That's Eric with a K, ERIKSMITH 5757. And if you're on Blue Sky, I am at EL Smith. That's all I have for you this week. So until next week, read more books.